Hello again, everyone. I was recently asked about clean and simple Christmas cards, so I thought I'd start making a few. To me, the essence of a clean and simple card is just uncluttered and a little bit of interest. So it doesn't have to be much that's on your card, but what is there should be thought about, given a bit of detail. So I've made here it is, made a card with a little die from Gummiapan, just one die, well, should I say one die set, it's got 3 little dies in it, and a sentiment. This is also a Gummiapan sentiment. So all I did was colour the tree part, colour the what do you call it, trunk, and cut out a gold star, and emboss the Merry Christmas with some gold embossing powder. But the things that make this a little bit more interesting are the fact that this panel is raised up from the base of the card because I put it onto some foam tape. Likewise, these two. But I didn't just colour the foliage a matte green. There's several greens there and there's a little bit of interest in it. This too is popped up on foam tape away from the base of the card. But to me, I just love it. It's the sort of design that is so uncluttered, so clean, and you can do something like this on a grand scale. Just keep churning them out if you wish to. So I'll show you how I did this one, and I'll carry on and use the same little die set and make another couple of cards, different designs, but the same principle of colouring the tree. This little, well, I suppose it's a tag really. I didn't have a die that was just the right size for this. What I used was this one. And I cut the sentiment from one end, I guess, through my die cutting machine, took it out, turned it round and cut it from the other end so that it's made just the right size to fit. Okay, so there's one. Now, these cards I cut from a piece of A4. This is my piece of A4. That's like that. So I cut a piece of A4 down the centre, give it a tent fold, and I'm left with another piece that I could use for a panel and various other die cuts. So what I have done is cut a panel with this framelit die. It's a Sizzix framelit die, rectangle set 2, which is British dimensions. And what I also did was take another die here to cut an aperture. So that's what I've done on this one. I've got ahead of myself a bit here. So this is my front panel, and let's have a card base. It can go like this. I've got a dirty mark on that already. Then I can put a tree inside and a sentiment at the bottom. So in order to do a lot of the same thing, I could tape those two dies together so that I can pop them through the machine. I don't know where that dirty mark came from, but we'll get rid of it. Okay. Pop it through the machine. Here you can see one was there. So I've got a base with an aperture. So if I raise that up, the tree will be highlighted by the fact that it's in an aperture. But having cut that out, I'm left with a piece. So on another base, I can put that on, put this on and raise it. And again, the tree is highlighted. So let's just kind of get on. I thought I would show you how in the Misty, how you can do multiple stampings for a greeting if you're going to do the same card by simply putting it in the same place. So what I did, I wanted to find the right place just here for my sentiment. So what I did was get an old bit of, this is just an old bit of vellum. I used to use it in my switch to protect the top plate. So put that, it's exactly the same size as that. Put that in there, exactly over. Test to see if it's in the right place. If it is, that's in a different place, isn't it? That's interesting. Let me just try that the other way up. Let's just see. Let me get some black ink just so I can see where I'm at. Because if I don't like it, I can alter it. Let's just see. That looks as if it's a bit too far one way. Let's just see. That looks a bit high. Let's try this. These Gummiapan stamps are just the rubber, no mounting, no nothing to attach it to a block. So I just put a smear. That's in a good place. So now I know that if I stamp onto here, it will come in the right place. I'm not being very clear this morning, am I? I'm a bit behind the times. So let me just clean this stamp off. That's probably what happened when I cleaned the stamp and moved it a little bit. But always a good idea to test, if you're using a stamping platform, is to do it exactly exactly the same size piece of card as your actual piece of card, with a bit of vellum that you can see through, and then you know if you're in the right place. Right, I'm going to put that away for just a little minute. I'll come back to that. Right, now then, let's first of all show you how I coloured the trees themselves. This looks a bit dull. Can I get this any brighter? That's better. Right, there's my panels. I'll keep those away. And I've got some that I've cut out here. Let's put those out of the way as well. Put those with the Misty. Right. What I've chosen are 3 colours of green. And here I have Bundled Sage, Rustic Wilderness and Pine Needles. And I'm going to just use a bit of each for my trees. So I'll just go, oops, Bundled Sage, Rustic Wilderness, and Pine Needles. This is just a little clear mixing mat. Now I'm going to pick this up with a pair of tweezers, and I'm just going to do this. You know what I like, with a bit of that colour, a little of this colour, and a bit of this colour too. And when you've had a look, see what you think. Might have a bit more of that one. Then all you have to do is give that a little spritz, just a little, because that will make the colours move. Do you see? Okay, let's do another one. And you can mix what colours go where. A bit of the light one, a bit of this one, a bit of that one. And as you see, you can just keep doing them. If you need a bit more ink on, just give it another dab. If there's white left over, all to the good, because it would look a bit like snow. And just a spritz of water. Okay. And here's another one. Do the same again. Bit of one colour. You can choose whichever green, pleases you, really. But to have a variety makes it all the more interesting. It's nearly getting ready for another dab of colour, isn't it? Put a bit of something on one of these. Let's have a bit more Rustic Wilderness. just on the edge. I don't want to do that because I've nearly finished. Okay, now we'll give it a little tiny spritz of water. Actually, I might just put it in this a bit where I spritzed before. Okay, and they're just left to dry. I'll wipe away the residue. There we go. And we'll just do the trunks. If you've got a whole bunch of die cuts ready to go, say you're doing a dozen or more, you just keep going until you've got them all with some colour on. And for the trunk, a little gathered twigs and a little ground espresso. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Oops, I think that's upside down. Gathered twigs and ground espresso. And give it a little spritz. There it is. Surprising how it diffuses the colour, isn't it? So here's another one. Bit of this. Have I got the right way up? That's the right way up. Bit of that. And the last one. Okay. I may add a bit more of that, just drag it across later. I will do it now, actually. Do it while I think about it. There we go. Look at that. Lovely. Hope you can see some of these. Right. Now then, I will assemble some of the other ones. I've got one trunk here. Let's just do that. The cards I've got ready prepared. There's my 2 card bases. Here's one. Here's the one with the aperture in that I cut. So let's just stamp this one. I've got my stamp over here. So I need some Versamark because I want to do it in gold so that there's just a little link between the gold of the star and the sentiment. And that's moved again. That might be straight. Of course, on your stamping platform, you can see by the grid lines whether you've got your stamp straight or not. I'm just going to give that a quick swipe with some anti-static there. These are lovely stamps, actually. It's a bit high after all that messing about. Let me get it absolutely straight. Right. There we go. So once it is in the right place, you can use it, obviously, over and over again. Let's have a bit of paper. Where's my gold embossing powder? Here it is. That's lovely. It's really such a brilliantly clear stamp, I have to say. It's lovely. So once you've got that stamp in the right place, if you're using the corner of a stamping platform like that, you can put every panel that you've cut in and just stamp one after the other. It's like a production line. Okay, let's just heat emboss this. So to make the card, I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of here, if I can see it. Put it somewhere safe. I've just covered it up with my paper that I did my embossing with. Right, let's have some foam tape down here. And around the edge. All the way around. The one thing I did do to the trees once they were dry was simply to add a little Nuvo. It's like the equivalent of Wink of Stella, but it's called Glitter Gloss, I believe. So just a little of that over the ink, and it just gives that little sheen, just a tiny bit of twinkle, which I think is really attractive. There we are. Right, we'll stick this onto the card base. You've seen me do this 100 times, haven't you? But I love this tape. It's not very, the depth is not very great, so it does give the dimension, but it doesn't give the bulk, which we don't really want when we're trying to send things through the post inexpensively, or the cheapest way possible anyway. So a little glue stick, just so that I could get a bit of manoeuvrability with that foam tape. Pop this on here. Now we want to put the tree. I've got some here. This one has actually got, both of these have got, I put a little bit of this stuff. I cut one of those and one of these out of this corner here. This is from Sticks too, and it's double-sided foam sheet, and this is really skinny too. So you get that little bit of dimension, but you don't get the bulk. I ran it through my die cutting machine, popped one of the coloured things onto it, well, took the top layer off, stuck that on, and now what I'm going to do is to take the back layer off of both the trunk and the tree itself. So let's try this. I haven't tried this particular brand before, so let's see. I've had some stuff from Craft Stash, but I haven't used the Sticks too. If I can just get the bit, there it is, it's off. Now where to put this? Let's just see. I think I'll put it fairly low, otherwise it will look like it's floating, won't it? Now let's have this one. I probably should have cut one of those little stars to put a little star on the foam sheet as well. But so many companies come out with, one person has an idea, and then every company in the world, it seems to want to go ahead and do the same thing. So here we are. Here's this the little tree. Isn't it sweet? So all we need now, I've got a little star here. I think I'll put a tiny, there's a little bit here. Where's that come from? There's a tiny bit there, look, a little bit of, that's a bit left over from when I'm doing something else. Tiny little sliver. Let me see if I can get the back off. There we go. There. Look, there's another one. Merry Christmas. Didn't take a minute, but just a little bit of care about the presentation of what you do makes it so easy. Let's do the last one. I've got one more tree here, so we can do that one too. Before I go much further, let me, oh dear. I keep dumping things on the floor and then I can't move. I'll just show you this. Can you see it looks just a little bit dull? But if I get my Nuvo, what do they call it? Glitter gloss, and just paint over it. Look at that. Don't know if you can see the difference. Let me just hold up one and then hold up the other. See if you can see the difference. There, one with, one without. Do you see? Makes such a difference. So I will do all of them. This is water-based as well, of course, so this will probably spread a little bit of the colour on the tree at the same time. You can see my brush is getting a bit stained with the green, so this does need to be shaken to get the glitter going. So I will have to make sure that I give the brush a clean before I do anything else with it, which I will do right now. There we go, you see? Nice and clean again. Excellent. So this has been a bit muddled this morning. I'm sorry about this, but I hope you'll sort of have a bit of fun with what you do. Let's do another tree. Normally I would put a second layer on, but for now we just kind of do it. A little bit of foam tape on here. Don't want stuff too fat. I'm leaving a little gap at the bottom so that the tip of the trunk here can just fit. So here's a trunk. I need to put a bit of twinkle on a trunk too, I think, don't I? Let's do that. There we go. It does look lovely. I'll put some little bit of foam tape on that too, just a sliver. Whoops. There we go. Right. I'll stick these bits onto different things and then wonder where they've come from. Get the back off this. I'll put this on here. Now, when I take this off, I'm going to put a little bit of glue around there. Doesn't matter that it's not raised. Give it a bit more dimension, in fact. So let's just put a little bit of glue around here. There we go. I'm going to stick this one on. Sticking well to my finger. Okay. And I should have another, oh, here's another little star. We'll just put this one on directly. I think I'll put it on with a glue dot, actually. I've got some tiny, tiny glue dots here from Sticks 2. Let's pick that up. Pop that on the glue dot, press, and lift. There we go. Now, all I have to do is to pop this on my other card panel that I have cut. Now, I can have the Merry Christmas in exactly the same place because it's still in my stamping platform. So if I pop this into that corner, hold it down, Versamark, I'll give it a quick wipe with anti-static, Versamark. So if you decide on one particular design, you can just keep going. Absolutely, just keep going. Okay. And we'll put a little gold on. If I'm putting gold on, it doesn't matter that the black, oh, what am I doing? That the black still shows, because it'll be covered with the gold, which is not a problem. Okay. Lovely. Put the powder back. And we'll heat set this. Right, now because I'm going to put this one on some foam tape, I'm going to stick that one directly onto the card base. I don't want it to get too thick because of Mr. Postman. We don't want to have to pay extra postage because the card is too fat to fit through the postal gauge. Right. We'll stick this onto the front. There. We'll put some foam tape on this one. And we will have made 3 cards literally in moments. So once you've got a little production line going, if you've got a design that you like, some people like to send the same card to everyone in any particular year, but I actually like to send different ones. It's purely personal preference, but that's what I like to do. So, however, there are a few shortcuts that you can take just to save a little bit of the hours that you would normally be spending doing your Christmas production. Right, and now we'll pop this one on. There we go. So we've got 3 different cards, but they're all based on the same thing. And I don't want to get them in there. There we go. All from Gummiapan. What I did with this one actually too, I've just added a little bit of jelly roll pen just in places, just to intimate that there's a bit of snow on there. So, as ever, do have a bit of fun. Enjoy what you're doing and look and see what you've got that you could use. Any Christmas tree that you've got probably would do for something like this. If you've only got one that's got the trunk incorporated, you could dip it all in the greens and then just add a little bit of brown for your trunk with a pen, or even a paintbrush, whatever. So enjoy yourselves. That's the main thing. And thank you so much for watching.